Good evening. My name is Olivia Baker, and tonight I am the host of a new edition of Education Exchange. Lemme Elementary in Iowa City recently began a parent involvement committee that has been actively engaging the parents in the school experiences of their children at the school. Tonight, I have the privilege of talking with John Bacon, principal of the elementary school at Lemme, as well as Nick Kronk, one of the parents involved, and his son Nick. So welcome to all of you, and thanks for joining us this evening. John, would you like to go ahead and explain to us for a moment, what is the Parent Involvement Committee and how did it develop at the elementary school?
Yeah, well, thank you, Olivia, for having us on the show tonight.
Of course.
And glad to be joined by Dennis and Nick. And we formed a committee a couple of years ago at Lemme. Actually started just last school year. Because we got a grant. The grant is through a statewide network to try to promote increased parental involvement at school. And we formed a committee that is half parents and half teachers and myself. The grant gives us $5,000 per school year to design and implement parental involvement projects at our school. And we've done a lot of neat things, I think, that we're proud of. And we wanted to feature some of those things, just tell about some of the things we're doing tonight a little bit. So I'd like to introduce Dennis Kronk, who's a Lemme dad and stalwart on our committee, and his son Nick, who has helped us with a special project that we did as well. I guess to get started a little bit, Dennis, you want to pick one of the projects that we've worked on so far and tell a little bit about it?
Sure. Well, before we get started, I think it's important to point out that there's a lot of data that a lot of information we've received about the value of parental involvement in the education with their kids and how that really benefits kids, and that's where this whole thing kind of came from. And we did a survey of all our students and parents and staff at our school to determine where we needed to improve and what things we could do to improve and what the perceptions were of Lemme School from the parents and the teachers' perspective. And then we developed a few projects we worked on. Last year, our big project was the Bronze Leopard Challenge, and that was a list of items, about 4 or 5 different categories, I think, where we had parents and their children involved with. One was a community involvement, one was reading with your child, I don't know, what else, John?
We had academic involvement, community involvement, family fun, family physical fitness, things like that, and we challenged families to work their way through at least 10 things on that list. And we had set a goal of a certain percentage of those challenges to be met, and then we celebrated by unveiling a statue of our school mascot in front of school. Nick, do you remember anything about the Bronze Leopard Challenge? Do you remember what some of the things were that your family worked on together?
Well, we went to the gorge, Fossil Gorge, and read books, made lunch together.
That's great. So you did some extra good family time stuff because of our Lemme Leopard Challenge, huh? That's great. Another thing, Dennis mentioned the survey that we did, which was a way to gather kind of baseline data about what was going really well in that department and what things we could improve on. And coming out of that, one of the things we decided to do was design a better, more consistent homeschool communication tool. So we created our Leopard books, and that's what we call this special binder that we made that serves as a homeschool notebook back and forth from school.
It started with the secondary teachers.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
It started with we just did second grade.
Okay.
And then the parents and teachers started talking about giving the whole school Leopard books.
Oh, so it was going so well that they wanted to expand into other grades?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's just a folder that the parent sends home information in every day. There's a couple different areas in the folder where you look for homework or just notes for the teacher, notes to send back to school or lunch money or whatever. But it just lets you know what your kids are doing every day at school, and the parents just know when the kids come home they can pull that out and see what's going on. And,
right.
And it's a tool for the parents and the child to communicate And because if you've got an elementary school kid, you know that if you ask them, what'd you do at school today, you can get a mixed response. Sometimes you get, oh, nothing, or we did this or that, but frequently don't get a lot of detail from the kids. So it's a really good tool to help you to interact with your child and ask probing questions and find out really how their day went.
We hope that having there be one consistent tool that's used across the grade levels, it'll just become habit,
Right.
and then when the little kids get used to using it in kindergarten and first grade and second grade, by the time they're upper elementary students, that'll be old hat and they'll be in the routine. Another thing we did was try to class up our open house a little bit this year. We always have an open house night, and also combine that with some parent meetings in each classroom. And this year, our committee planned some extra special little details that we thought made it a little bit more special.
Tell us about some of those things that you did.
We had some refreshments, which everybody loves, and
Can't beat that.
encourages attendance, which was a big
That's
deal.
true.
And then we had a red carpet out at the front of the school. That was a big hit, and it was really just about letting parents know how important they are to our school and how important their involvement is, both at school and at home, and just wanting the parents to feel welcome at Lemme. If you're a new parent or if you've been a parent of an elementary school age kid for a while, it can be a little uncomfortable going in, and knowing
Absolutely.
how to interact with teachers is a learning process. And it was real important that we want the parents, and all the families at Lemme to feel like they're welcome to come to school and talk to the parents and talk to Mr. Bacon, and that we're all part of a team that has to work together for the betterment of our kids.
That's right. So they were the VIPs that night, the very important parents, and they had the red carpet rolled out, and then the City High School, we hired City High School
right.
String Quintet or Quartet, and they came, just incredibly talented City High students that played beautiful music, and they were dressed in suits and ties and dresses, and it was just very, very neat.
It was fun.
Yeah, quite an affair, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was. A couple more things we've done. One of the tasks that our committee took on was we created what's called a school compact, and we entitled ours "The Heart of a Lemme Leopard." And I'll hold it up here. This little pamphlet we printed out, one for every family, and in it is a series of pledges. We have a student pledge, and a parent pledge, and a teacher pledge. And they have a lot of things in common, but it's basically just what we promise to do. What we're asking the students to promise, and what we're asking our parents to promise to do to support their child's education, and what we're asking our teachers to promise. And so at that open house night, we had the kids discuss these in their classrooms at school and sign them, and teachers had signed them, and then we had parents sign them at the open house night. So every family has on record a school compact that is signed. And then we also want to highlight our book project. That is, we're planning an all-school reads project to promote reading at home. You want to talk a little bit about that, Dennis?
Well, we took some of the grant money and we purchased a copy of a book. I don't know if it's a...
It's a surprise.
Okay.
Don't say.
So we're purchasing copies of the book for every family at Lemme, and going to encourage them over the month of January, I believe, to read that book every night, and there'll be every week